Hello, I'm Sheldon. Welcome to my workshop. I am the Education Manager for Designs by Juju, and today I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite tips and techniques on assembling embroidered blocks that go into larger projects. You can use these tips and techniques on any of our projects that are assembled from individual blocks. So that includes wall hangings, quilts, mini quilts, tree skirts, anything that you sew individual blocks and then have to sew them together. You're going to love these little tips and techniques. It's going to make everything so much easier. Before you begin stitching, prepare your fabric ahead of time. We always recommend that you apply Designs by Juju Plus Fuse Easy fusible interfacing to the back side of your background fabric. And we're going to do that here today. So back of the fabric, Fuse Easy fusible interfacing. There's a rough side and a smooth side. That rough side is the fusible. So you want to place that on the back of your fabric so the smooth side is up. Then with your medium to hot iron, you're going to place that in place and hold it for 5 to 8 seconds in each place, and that is going to fuse that interfacing to the back of your background fabric. So we've got all of our background fabric prepared and cut according to the cut chart in your instructions. Always go to the instructions, has all the information that you need. And we'll be ready to start stitching out these blocks. Here's one of my favorite pro tips. When you're stitching your blocks, I like to use a contrasting bobbin thread for the first few machine stitches. That's going to help you in the end when you go to sew your blocks together, and we'll show you that in a minute. But we're just going to place that bobbin into the machine, just like you normally would. Then we're going to get into this block. The first step will be the placement stitch for the batting, and we'll run that. We're using a pink thread here on camera so that you can see it, but you would use a thread that matches your background fabric. And that is our placement stitch for where we're going to place our batting, which I've pre-cut according to the cut chart in the instructions. Place your batting to cover that stitch entirely, and then run the next stitch, which is the batting tack down. And it's going to go around that outline 2 times to securely hold that batting. And again, I still have that contrasting bobbin thread in. This is called That Purple Thing. No fingers in the machine, just little tools. Now that we have our batting tacked down, we're going to trim away that excess batting. So we'll remove the hoop from the machine, place it on a flat surface. Do not unhoop your project. Cut right up to that tack down stitch. And today we're using Designs by Juju Plus Lofty Soft Batting, which is amazing, especially for embroidered projects, but you could use this in all of your sewing projects that require batting. It comes in 3 different sizes available on the designsbyjujuplus.com website. The next step will be the placement stitch for our first background fabric. And again, I still have that contrasting bobbin thread in there. You want to place that down, make sure it covers that stitch entirely, and then we'll stitch the tack down stitch. This tack down will run around that area 2 times to securely hold that fabric in place. Now you can always tape this in your hoop with some paper medical tape, which removes beautifully even if it's stitched over. It's going to tear away easily from under those stitches, but still hold your fabric in place long enough for it to be tacked down. And it will reverse over that. With that first background fabric tacked down, we'll once again remove the hoop from the machine, leave a 1/2 inch of fabric. Don't trim right up to that tack down line outside of the block, but inside of the block, we're going to trim right up to that tack down stitch. And I like to come in at a little bit of an angle, like that, and then we'll just trim close to the tack down stitch on the inside of the block. Take your time when you're doing this. You want to get right up to that stitch, because we don't like to layer multiple layers of fabric when we do our applique. That just creates a harder time for the machine to make a perfect stitch, and we want to avoid that. I am using these pointed double curve applique trimming scissors because there's lots of little areas in this particular design that need to be cut out, and your duckbill applique scissors just won't be able to get quite in there. And also, for some reason, I find it easier to go clockwise when I'm trimming applique. I seem to be able to get closer to that tack down stitch. And again, when we get to this next edge, we're not going to clip straight off. We're going to go down at an angle, and we're going to leave that extra seam allowance out there. And I know I've got a lot here on the top, but we'll trim that up at the very end when the block is done. At this point, with this particular design, there's some additional applique and design details that we'll stitch before the second background fabric is stitched down, which will be the snow fabric. We're going to skip ahead in that process, but you're going to follow the same process for that. At this point, you would switch to your regular white bobbin thread. So I've got our two main background fabrics applied to this block. I've skipped some stuff in the middle just for demonstration purposes, but what I really want to show you is what that background or that contrasting bobbin thread does for you. It's going to give you these beautiful red stitch lines on the back. That's going to be helpful for when you line things up in the end and then you need to stitch between them. And then you would do everything else with your regular white bobbin thread. But if this was all white bobbin thread, it would be very difficult to pick out which one of those stitch lines is the outer line, where's the inner line. It just makes it harder to see. This makes it so easy on you, and you'll be able to just stitch right down, as I call it, the racetrack of those seam lines. Okay, our block is done. We've skipped ahead in the process a little bit, but this is from the Build a North Pole Village, which is out now, and this is the hot cocoa block. It's super cute, love it. And I just wanted to show you that out of the hoop, what we need to do now is trim away all this extra stabilizer. And I like to, again, use my applique scissors to do that, and you're gonna cut right up to that outside tack down stitch of your background fabric. If you have nice sharp scissors, it works really great just like that, and just run right along that. If for some reason you have used multiple layers of stabilizer, which is not an issue, you're gonna want to remove each layer one at a time. There we go. So the back of our block is ready. Stabilizer has been removed. Now we're gonna trim this up. Again, we have all this excess fabric to the outside. We need a 1/2 inch of seam allowance from that outside stitch. So we're gonna go over to the cutting mat, trim that up for you. So we're gonna just trim this down to a 1/2 inch from that outside seam allowance, or from the outside stitch line. And our rotary cutter and mat makes it super simple. Accuracy at this point will make the final assembly so much easier. So take your time, be patient, try to get as close to that 1/2 inch seam allowance as you can. We are using a 1/2 inch and not a 1/4 inch, which would be standard for quilting. We want that extra little bit of seam allowance to help those seams open up and lay nice and flat on the back of your project. And we've got our block trimmed down, 1/2 inch seam allowance, and that's ready to go. We'll put that aside until we finish the rest of the blocks, and then we'll show you how to assemble them and give you some great tips on that. Place your two blocks right sides together, the blocks that you're gonna sew, and then you need to align these stitch lines. Very hard to see from the front, particularly if you've used thread that blends in with your background fabric. So what we're gonna use are your stitch lines on the back. We're gonna use some pins, therefore I've got Band-Aids, because when Sheldon pins, he bleeds. So what we're going to do, we're gonna take our first pin in the upper corner, we're gonna go halfway between those two stitch lines, and there's a millimeter apart there, so we're gonna go 1/2 millimeter. You don't have to be exact, just halfway in between, in through that corner. Now, we're gonna line that up with the matching corner, and again, 1/2 millimeter down from that outside stitch line. That should come out right between those two stitch lines on the back, and it did. Don't do anything yet. We're gonna put in another pin in the next corner. Same thing, halfway between the stitch lines, then 1/2 millimeter down from that corner, and on the back, it came out exactly where it needed to be. I'm going to apply one more pin so that I make sure everything's square, and we're gonna pin this in a corner we're not sewing together. So I'm gonna go in opposite corner from that top corner, and between the stitch lines, 1/2 millimeter in, place everything nice and tight. Again, try not to poke yourself, and now we're gonna use some unconventional sewing or embroidery tools. These are little alligator clips that you get in the electrical section of any hardware store. They've got these great little metal teeth. I love using these because they secure your fabric in place. So I'm gonna apply several of these. Our corners are lined up. I'm gonna put one in the top. We're gonna put one in the bottom. Then, any embroidered elements that you have that cross blocks, on this one it's just this snow line. You want to make sure that those are lined up, because if it's not lined up in your final project, your eye is going to quickly see that. So one more pin. I'm going to go through this snow line. I'm going to make sure that lines up with the second snow line. Pin that in place. Again, lots of pins here, be careful. Make sure you've got those Band-Aids on hand. And one more clip right there to make sure that element doesn't move out of place. And then I'm going to place another one in the middle. You can never have too many clips. There, now we can remove the pins, so there's no chance of poking ourselves anymore. Now our block is secured together, and we can take it to the sewing machine and stitch right down those stitch lines and join our blocks. You would typically put in a thread that matches your background fabric, just so those stitches don't show up when it's sewn together. We're using a contrasting fabric for the camera, and we're going to start with a basting stitch. We're going to go right down the middle of those lines, just like we talked about the racetrack, but we're going to do it with a basting stitch. Then we're going to check our alignment, make sure we're happy, because a basting stitch is much easier to rip out than regular stitches at 2 millimeters or 2.5 millimeters. So we'll go ahead and we'll put that together with a basting stitch. I'm using a walking foot with the machine. That's going to help all the layers go through evenly. So if you've got a walking foot, a dual feed, something that helps your machine stitch like a walking foot, you're going to want to use that. It just helps everything go along. And we're going to go right down the middle here. So we can see with our purple thing here, we're going to start sewing. And we've got that nice long basting stitch. As we come to the clips, we'll remove those. You do not want to sew over a clip. And at our cross block element, we want to make sure that stays nice and lined up. And we'll cut the threads. And we're going to check our alignment. Move all of our clips, open it up, and we're going to see that everything's aligned. Our beautiful snow satin stitch is aligned there. So we're ready to stitch that permanently. Close your blocks back up. No need for the clips again because everything's held together. Go to a regular stitch and repeat the process. This time you're sewing with a regular stitch length, and you'll stitch right down the center of that racetrack, but with a normal stitch, and everything will be perfect. I like to go at a slower speed, then you don't need to floor it. And we'll go right down there. Make sure everything stays together. Remove it from the machine, and we can see that everything's lined up beautifully. Everything crosses over, our seam lines, our stitch lines are great. And now we're ready to press the back of the block, and we're going to want to press those seams open. So our blocks are together. We're here at the pressing station, and we're going to press the seam allowance open. So we're going to place our blocks face down with our iron set to a medium-high temperature. We're going to go over that. Initially, I'm just going to go over it real quick to set it. I love to use a metal turning tool with a ball point to really get down in that seam and press it open. That's going to help get you all the way down there, and your blocks are going to open up beautifully, and it protects your fingers as well. Always helpful. That's just going to help get everything pressed open nice and flat. And then that will stay open, and you'll be ready for those blocks, and you're going to want to do that for all of your blocks, so all of your rows together, and then all of your columns together, and you'll have a beautiful completed wall hanging. Once you have all your blocks together, you'll have this beautiful wall hanging, or a quilt, or table runner, or whatever you're working on. All of these tips and techniques work with any of our Designs by Juju projects that go together with individual blocks and need to be sewn together. And you can see all the details, all of our cross block elements line up because we were patient and we did our checking and used our basting stitch. So apply these tips and techniques. It's going to make your next project super easy. And remember, be patient, give yourself grace. If you need to restitch a few blocks together, that's fine. That's what you have your seam ripper for, not a problem. And when you're done, make sure to give yourself credit for a beautiful project.